So because emotional abuse, mental abuse, they can be so subtle and they can happen so suddenly that it is important for those reasons even more so to understand what is going on and to be acknowledging when it is happening. Because especially when you are sensitive and trusting, you are kind, you are an empath, you are a highly sensitive person like myself, and we've been through already too much in our lives, so we should not be putting up with more of that garbage, abusive treatment from anyone, and we don't deserve it. And so that is why it's even more important to be acknowledging when it's happening and to set those boundaries and speak up. So from my experience, what I have seen and felt and witnessed throughout my life, this has happened a lot. They withhold information. They intentionally defend themselves. Oh, I didn't do that. Or they give you silent treatment. They don't take any accountability, no responsibility. They say, I'm sorry if you feel that way. I'm sorry that you feel that way, which is not taking responsibility of the hurt that they have caused to that victim, how they have treated that other person. It's running away from that. It is not taking any accountability like an adult would. So if you try to ask something from them, you try to reason with them, you try to talk and solve things with them, either they don't answer anything, they ignore you intentionally, which I believe that it is always intentional. When they shut down completely, they don't communicate, they don't listen to you, they cut off the call, they hang up on you if you're talking to them on the phone, for example. They will do anything to be able to avoid accountability and responsibility. Like I said, they run away from that situation. They shut down. They don't communicate. They are not being honest. They are likely lying to you and betraying you in every sense that they just can. So it doesn't matter who this abuser is. It can be your parent, it can be your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, your friend from the past who you thought that you could trust. It can be your neighbor, it can be an authority figure, it can be the police, a social worker, it can be a lawyer, it can be just a random person attacking you out of nowhere when you're on your way to work, for example. It can happen anywhere and suddenly and from anyone. So basically, we cannot trust anybody if we think like that. Of course, we don't want to be living in fear and doubt and shame and guilt, and that is not a healthy place to be. So that is why we have to have those tools. They either see your light and kindness and sensitivity, they sense and see it, or they don't. These are the two options. But of course, usually I believe that they do sense and see it, because otherwise they would not be attacking you. Because they think that your sensitive, kind essence, your aura is inviting them basically to abuse you. That can happen. But anyway, it's never our fault. It's never the victim's fault if somebody is attacking you, intentionally or not. And like I was saying, we need those tools to be able to handle our lives so that we are not always hurt and drained out. Because as God's chosen ones, empaths and highly sensitive people, human angels, we can be attacked too much. Like I've been saying, it can be daily. And from what I understood when I was asking you guys with the polls how much you get attacked. A lot of you were answering that it seems to be very often. And that has also been happening to me, and that is why it's important for me to be talking about these issues. Because again, I'm against all kinds of wrongdoing, and I'm sure that you are too. That is kind of the thing, to be a person like we are. And so that is why it's important to, be aware. But again, as a kind reminder and guidance that is coming to me right now very powerfully, that I needed to talk about this, that acknowledge when it is happening. Do not blame yourself. Do not internalize their issues, their pain. Notice when it's going on, they are projecting. People are always projecting their own issues. And it is so wrong that we are the victims, the targets, because we're not punching bags. We're not dumping rounds. We have a human worth. And it is not our fault that we are built how we are built. It is a gift. It is a superpower. And we should be able to live our lives in peace and, lead a healthy life. We don't owe those people anything. No matter how they might feel, they might make us feel like that, because that is also what an abuser does, a narcissistic person does. They make the victim feel like the victim owes them things. And like the victim should be apologizing and taking accountability and responsibility when it's not their issue in the first place. The victim would be chasing after the narcissist and after their validation and approval. But this is where we have to always detach ourselves, know when it is going on, when it's happening, and detach ourselves, say no and speak up and set those boundaries. That it is clear that we are not accepting that it is very abusive. And again, the number one sign that you're dealing with someone or an authority person, it doesn't matter who it is, but you're dealing with someone or with some people who are being very immature. And this is manifesting in your reality when they treat you like that. They shut down. They don't listen. They don't want to hear you when you try to reason with them. You try to solve things normally. So it doesn't matter what you do, you will never be heard with these kind of people, because they do nothing but shut down and run away. They will never, ever, ever take accountability or responsibility, and you should not be demanding and chasing after it. And this is the toxic, immature, and inhuman part, because it is not a human way to act or treat anyone. We should always remember that we always need to put ourselves in the other person's shoes before we hurt them. We should always take accountability and responsibility of the things and the choices that we do and we make in our daily lives. We cannot be always defending ourselves if we are hurting others, if we are violating other people's boundaries, bossing other people around, telling them what to do. But this is how these narcissistic people act. This is how they act. They don't take any responsibility. All they see is that they want that control. So again, our job as God's chosen ones, sensitive, caring, kind, loving, big-hearted empaths and highly sensitive people, human angels, starseeds, who we are, our job is to be supporting ourselves, to be supporting others. If others are in these similar situations, we're supposed to be helping and supporting one another, helping and supporting the world, healing the world, not carrying everyone else's issues. That is not the thing. The thing is to support and help, to understand. And first, we always have to support ourselves, because we cannot live full lives again if we don't do that, if we don't know how to support ourselves, if we don't know what is going on, if we don't know what the heck is happening. Because this can be so severe. It is severe psychological abuse when one is playing with the other person's mental health, making the victim feel like they are going crazy, like they're crazy. They're questioning their sense of reality. They start to doubt and question themselves. They cannot trust themselves because of this abuse. Because the abuser is not giving any validation to the victim's feelings, and let alone when they are sensitive. But the victim's experiences are always valid, and it is important for your mental health's sake that you do acknowledge when this is happening, that you don't give into it and lose your health. Because, quite frankly, honestly, I'm worried about people in general, about our planet Earth, because this seems to be happening too much online and, wherever. Too much. From companies, from authorities, from people who are supposed to be helping, people who are supposed to be mental health professionals, people who are supposed to be therapists or some kind of nurses. They can be saying the wrong things to the patient, and they are practicing the same abuse, whether they realize it or not. But this can be so subtle and so sudden, like I said, that this can be such a big baggage for us victims to deal with. So, in order to protect ourselves, our mental health, our rights and everything, we have to be able to stand firm in the truth, because they never will. All they do is shut down and lie and defend, run away in every way possible. You can imagine a narcissistic person moving to another country behind your back, just because you are seeking the truth, just because you're seeking justice. They will do anything. They are like flesh-eating friggin' robots. But that is ultimately what they really are, because they have the narcissistic demonic energy within them. Because it's not normal, like I said, it's inhuman behavior, it's inhuman treatment. It's not normal. A normal human being has empathy and compassion towards the other person and takes accountability. And yes, it does make me angry whenever I witness it, especially when somebody who is supposed to be helping a trauma victim. I've been in this situation just too many times when I was attacked by abusers and by those who were supposed to be helping me when I was going through that trauma and those shock moments, those panic attack days. So it is such a painful place to be in. It is a living hell that you are in, and it is a deep, dark place where you don't want to go back there anymore. You just want out of it. So that is why you have to be protecting yourself. So that is why, number one, acknowledge when it is going on. Don't doubt yourself. Don't question yourself. Detach yourself. Number two, know that they are being immature. A normal, mature adult would communicate, would apologize, would listen to you, would hear you out, would give you the benefit of the doubt, would give you the space to negotiate, or whatever the situation is. But they would come halfway. They would give you normal respect without you demanding for it and asking for it and saying about it and having to fight for your rights. So clearly, when they are doing that, you're dealing with a very toxic individual. And this is usually narcissistic abuse. Because again, the only way to actually free yourself from this trap, from this web of manipulation and brainwash and these red flags and, you know, these toxic people acting behind your back, for example, gossiping about you behind your back, stabbing you in your back in different ways. The only way to deal with this, to remain sane and healthy, to actually be able to function and live your life, is to be acknowledging, being aware of what is going on, when it is happening, noticing it. Like, for example, today, if somebody's attacking you again, like this, that they end up hurting you and they don't apologize, they run away. So clearly you're dealing with an immature person and it's not your issue. And of course, at the same time, this can be a reminder and a lesson again that you have to be trusting God more than people. That generally, as God's chosen ones, we cannot be leaning on to people. We cannot be trusting people because this can happen, that they deceive us, they lie to us, they end up being these two-faced narcissists, manipulators, gaslighters. It is gaslighting, it is manipulation, it is brainwash, it is control, abuse of control, abuse of power in a very, very toxic way, in a very destructive way. When they are doing that to you, when they belittle your experiences, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts about the whole situation, if you try to stand up for yourself. And a truth is that they have issues. When they act like that, when they treat you like that, they abuse you. Emotional abusers are very immature and they have deep, deep issues, inner child wounds, inner child trauma. Because, you know, likely they have not been raised properly. A person who is mature and raised properly, who has integrity, who is honest and respectful, they have a conscience. They don't act like this inhuman robot who is just walking all over you, not taking accountability when they hurt you. So remember this when it's going on, and don't blame yourself. It is a fake apology when they say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry if this has happened. Or they say something like, oh, I don't know all the facts. Oh, I don't know what has happened really. Even if you had just tried to explain to them what has happened when you're talking about an important issue. You're trying to communicate and explain your situation, for example, and seek help from a person. And then they just invalidate your experience like it's nothing, like they don't believe you. So that is also gaslighting. It's very manipulative. It's a big red flag that you should just stay away from people like this. Apparently it's rare nowadays that people actually take accountability and responsibility of how they treat others. So don't let them shame you and guilt trip you anymore and make you doubt yourself, make you question yourself. I hope that you can stay afloat even if this is going on in your life. I'm here to help and support you and give you guidance and advice authentically, because I've also been through this my entire life and I'm here to help. It's my mission from God. And so just wanted to remind you about these facts today, because this is such an important issue, because it can happen. It can just happen, and we can be wondering, like, what is going on? Is this gaslighting? Is this abuse? Is this emotional abuse? What is this? But the fact is that it is abuse. If it is going too far and they don't take any accountability, And again, the fact that they have likely been raised and taught that they can just treat people like this, that they don't have to take any accountability or responsibility, that they just shut down and run away and don't communicate. So it can be a learned pattern, yes. But it still doesn't give any excuse to be, going around and abusing others, let alone sensitive empaths and highly sensitive people. And likely they don't even want to understand people like us. Likely they just have no interest in really diving deep and really understanding our perception, which is completely valid anyway. So I hope that next time you can intuitively know better who is for you, who is actually there for you, who is supporting you and who is not. That you can actually learn to trust yourself and your intuitive feelings and those nudges and all of that, because you have to, because it's the inner guidance system from God. And God can also speak to us through our intuition. And so the next time, if this is happening again, maybe you will steer away before it gets too hurtful. And remember that anyone who is supposed to help you should make you feel better, not worse. So it's a big red flag if they make you feel very uneasy and uncomfortable and hurt you.